You've seen them your whole life. Candy dishes, movie theaters, gas stations, a little piece of colored chocolate with a white M stamped on the side. You know the slogan, you know the colors, you probably know the cartoon characters, but you don't know where they came from because the story of M&Ms doesn't start in a candy factory. It starts on a battlefield with a man watching soldiers eat chocolate that refused to melt. What happened next involved a family betrayal, a desperate alliance between mortal enemies, and a buyout so ruthless it would define American capitalism for the next century. This is the secret history of M&Ms. Forrest Mars didn't leave his father's company. He was forced out. The details have been buried. Mars Inc. doesn't talk about it. But the outline is clear. In 1932, Frank Mars, founder of the Mars Candy Empire, creator of the Milky Way and Snickers, bought out his son's stake in the business. Father and son, both brilliant, both ruthless. They couldn't occupy the same room, let alone the same dynasty. Forrest took the buyout money and left America. He moved to Europe, worked for competitors like Nestle, studied their methods. He opened a small factory in England, making his own version of the Milky Way for the European market. He was learning, building, waiting, and then in 1936 he went to Spain, not for the war, for the chocolate. The Spanish Civil War was brutal, a testing ground for weapons and tactics that would later define World War II. But for Forrest Mars, it was something else, a laboratory. He watched soldiers eating small pellets of chocolate coated in hard sugar shells, British-made, probably Smarties from roan trees. The heat was relentless. The chocolate should have been melting in their hands. It wasn't. The technology wasn't new. Candy makers had been using a process called panning for decades, spinning chocolate in drums while coating it with layers of sugar until a hard shell formed. But Mars saw what they didn't. This wasn't just candy, this was portability, a way to armor chocolate against heat, moisture, chaos, a way to turn a fragile luxury into something that could survive anything. He returned to the United States in 1939 with a patent application and a plan to dominate the industry his father had locked him out of. Then everything changed. The United States entered World War II. By 1940, the American government had begun rationing critical materials: sugar, rubber, steel, and chocolate. Getting access to ration goods required two things: military contracts or insider connections. Forrest Mars had neither. His father's company wouldn't help him. He'd burned that bridge when he left. And even if they would, Mars Inc. didn't have the kind of leverage he needed, but one company did, Hershey. Hershey wasn't just a competitor. For the Mars family, Hershey was the rival. The two companies had spent decades in a silent war over the American candy market. Innovations, advertising, shelf space, everything was contested. And now, Forrest Mars, exiled son of the Mars dynasty, had to walk into Hershey's offices and ask for help. The man he met with was Bruce Murrie, son of William Murrie, president of the Hershey Chocolate Company. Mars made his pitch. He had the patent for the shell coating process. Murrie had access to Hershey's rationed chocolate supply. Together they could build something neither could build alone. Murrie took the deal, 20% ownership in exchange for chocolate. In 1941, they opened a factory in Newark, New Jersey. The company was named after both of them, Mars and Murrie, M&M. The first M&Ms ever produced weren't sold to the public. They went straight to the United States military. The hard candy shell did exactly what Mars had designed it to do. It protected the chocolate from heat, from moisture, from the chaos of war. M&Ms were included in sea rations, sold at military exchanges, shipped to every theater of combat. Soldiers in the Pacific carried them. So did troops in North Africa, in Europe, in the frozen battles of the Ardennes. The advertisements were direct. M&Ms, now 100% at war. For 4 years, that's all they were, a military product. Practical, durable, comforting. And then the war ended. Millions of soldiers came home, and they brought their taste for M&Ms with them. Demand exploded. Veterans who'd carried M&Ms through foxholes and landing zones now wanted them at home. The candy that had been exclusively military was suddenly the most sought-after product in American stores. Forrest Mars saw the future clearly. He didn't need Bruce Murrie anymore. In 1949, Mars bought out Murrie's 20% stake. The partnership was over. Clean, quiet, no public drama, just a severance of the alliance that had made the entire entire empire possible. The name stayed, not out of sentimentality, out of practicality. By then, M&M was already stamped into the American consciousness. Changing it would have been expensive and pointless, so the name remained, a monument to a partnership that no longer existed. Bruce Murrie faded into obscurity. Forrest Mars became a billionaire. With Murrie gone and demand soaring, Mars faced a new problem: imitators. Copycat candies flooded the market. Some even tried to mimic the look of M&M's. Mars needed a way to make his version unmistakable. In 1950, he stamped a small black M on every single piece. Later, in 1954, that mark was changed to the crisp white M we know today. Then came the campaign, "Look for the M on every piece." It was brilliant, simple, unmistakable. And then, in 1954, the slogan that would define the brand for 70 years, "Melts in your mouth, not in your hand." It was the same promise Mars had seen on the battlefield in Spain, the same innovation that started everything. But now it wasn't a military advantage, it was a consumer revolution. Also in 1954, Mars introduced peanut M&Ms. They were tan, just tan, and they were an instant hit. The colors evolved. The original violet was replaced by tan in 1949. Tan lasted until 1995, when it was voted out by the public in favor of blue. The packaging changed too. The original cardboard tubes from the war years gave way to cellophane bags in 1948, transparent, colorful, designed to sell themselves off the shelf. Mars expanded globally. By the 1960s, M&Ms were being sold in Europe, Asia, South America. Factories opened on every continent. In 1956, M&Ms became the best-selling candy in America. It has never lost that position. Mars began experimenting with cartoon mascots as early as 1954. Simple animations in television commercials, anthropomorphized candies with arms and legs. But it was in 1995 that the brand made its most audacious marketing move: the spokes candies. Suddenly, the candies weren't just products, they were personalities. Red, the sarcastic leader; yellow, the lovable idiot; blue, the smooth talker; green, the seductress; orange, the paranoid neurotic; brown, the professional. They became cultural icons. Some of the most memorable advertising of the last 30 years revolved around these 6 characters. M&M's wasn't just a candy anymore. It was an entertainment brand. Today, M&M's is a global empire, massive retail stores in New York, Las Vegas, London, Shanghai, billions of candies produced every day, hundreds of flavors and variations. In 1981, M&M's went to space. NASA selected them as an official snack for shuttle missions. They've been on every manned space flight since. Mars Inc. is now the largest privately held food company in the world. M&M's alone generates billions in annual revenue, all of it still controlled by the Mars family, Forrest's family, not Frank's. Forrest Mars died in 1999. By then, he'd built an empire that dwarfed anything his father ever created. Mars Inc. owns M&M's, Snickers, Twix, Skittles, Dove, Uncle Ben's, Pedigree, and dozens of other global brands. He never reconciled with his father's side of the family. The company remains privately held, controlled entirely by his descendants. No shareholders, no public accountability, just family. He spent his entire life proving he didn't need his father's empire. He succeeded, but the cost was permanent estrangement from the dynasty that gave him his name. The next time you hold an M&M, look at that little white M. It doesn't just stand for Mars, it stands for Mars and Murrie, a partnership that was always temporary, an alliance forged out of desperation between the son of one candy dynasty and the heir of its greatest enemy. It stands for a man who watched soldiers eat chocolate on a battlefield and saw the future. A man who was exiled from his family's empire and built his own. A man who shook hands with his enemy, used him, and then erased him from the story. M&M's wasn't born from nostalgia or childhood magic. It was born from war, from betrayal, from ruthlessness. The hard shell was never just about protecting chocolate from melting. What surprised you most about this story? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more secret histories of the brands you thought you knew, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching Fan Shorts, and by the way, it was about survival.